Okay, so it's been about 2 weeks since the Tales of Agrabah update dropped in Disney Dreamlight Valley, which means it's been about 2 weeks since the Oasis Retreat Star Path arrived. Now, I'm coming to the end of it, and I know a lot of people are starting to finish it as well, and I do have some thoughts. My main question is, are Star Paths becoming too homogenous in their rewards? That's not to say that I didn't enjoy the Star Path. I did actually really enjoy the Star Path this time around, but I do have some thoughts around those rewards that we do get. What's been good, what's been bad, and what might have just been a little bit boring this time around. So let's take a look at what we've done today. I've got a few comparisons for you. I've got some comparison tables, and I've also got a comparison of the furniture from this Star Path versus the other Star Paths. But on the plus side, at least the tasks were much easier than Frost and Fairies. I never want another Star Path like Frost and Fairies, please, Gameloft. But with that being said, let's just get straight into it and take a look at some of these comparisons. Okay, so I've updated my Star Path comparison chart to include the Oasis Retreat. Now, I can really only fit 6 on this nicely, so I did kind of bump the Lovely Monster Star Path off if you watched one of my other videos that included that. But, you know, I think comparing the last 6 is fine. So these are last summer through all the way to the Oasis Retreat, and we can see that I've got down the side all the different types of rewards that we do get with the Star Path. So clothing, companions, DreamStyles, face and makeup, floor and wallpaper, furniture, hairstyles, house styles, and motifs. Now, I will say that with the Oasis Retreat, it did actually feel like a nice variation of rewards this time around. We did only get 6 clothing items, so I will talk about that in the bad section. We did get a companion. We got 2 DreamStyles, which we haven't had since the day at Disney Star Path, so that's really nice. This is one of the good features of this Star Path. We got 1 face and makeup. I did include the facial hair in this one. Floor and wallpaper 1, 21 furniture items, 1 hairstyle, 1 house style, and then 6 motifs. So it is the second highest amount of motifs that we've gotten recently in a Star Path. But you know, there were quite a few pages with this one, so I'm not that mad about it. The motifs this time around were actually pretty good, and some of them were usable, like in Touch of Magic, in a better way than we normally get, so I'm happy with that. What I will say is that the furniture seems to be bumped up now that we have the bonus rewards. The bonus rewards, I will say, do fall into my boring section of this quote-unquote review, so bear with me on that one. But on the whole, we actually got quite a few items this time around. Like I said, clothing is definitely a little bit less. Companions are right on par with everything else. DreamStyles, we've gotten more. Face and makeup, kind of where we're at. We don't get that much face or makeup with the Star Paths. Flooring and wallpaper, kind of a random one. They gave us quite a few with Frost and Fairies, but then just the one this time around, just some wallpaper with the Oasis Retreat. Like I said about the furniture with the bonus rewards. Hairstyles, this is an interesting one. We do usually get more, although we didn't get any in Day at Disney. I didn't even realize that. But with the Dapper Delights, Majesty and Magnolias, we actually got 3, which is kind of wild. And then the night show, even though that was shorter, we still got 2 with that one. And then, of course, house styles. Those have only been introduced since we had the bonus rewards. And, of course, we just talked about motifs. So that's a little overview of the past Star Paths, just so you can see how the Oasis Retreat stacks up against them. I actually think it was a fun Star Path, a little bit different in terms of kind of content, especially considering it contrasted so much with the Frost and Fairy Star Path, given that we're not quite in summer yet. But on the whole, I think the amount of rewards were pretty good, and I'm excited to see how they continue this trend going forward. So I will update this as we get more Star Paths in the future. All right, let's actually talk about what I feel worked really well and what were some of my personal highlights from this Star Path. And I have to start with the 2 DreamStyles that we got for Jasmine and Aladdin. I mean, both of these look impeccable. They are chef's kiss. Gameloft did a great job with both of them. I did do a video where I speculated on what type of DreamStyles we could be getting for both of these, and the Prince Ali version of Aladdin and the lilac version of Jasmine both came up in that video, because I know that the red version of Jasmine's outfit was a really popular choice, but I just had a feeling they would go with the lilac celebration outfit, and I'm so glad that they did, because the color just looks amazing. These are 2 of my favorite DreamStyles that we've ever gotten in the game, and it is really nice to get 2 DreamStyles within a Star Path, because over the past few Star Paths, we've either gotten 1 or 0 at all. So it is nice to get 2 again in this update. What I will say is I do feel for my girl Tiana, because she did not get a DreamStyle within her Star Path whatsoever. And her Star Path was entirely themed to her and the movie. So it was a bit strange that Mulan got one, and then they followed up Tiana with no DreamStyle whatsoever. So justice for Tiana. I hope that she does get a DreamStyle at some point, because there are so many looks to choose from. But until then, we've got these two, so I'm happy with those. Now, my other favorite thing from this Oasis Retreat Star Path is the fact that we got another house skin. So I was really hoping that we would get a house skin with this update, and we did, and Gameloft didn't disappoint. I really love the vibe of this one. It's super pretty. It fits with the theme of kind of like an Oasis retreat really well. And I am glad that they brought back those bonus rewards, because I was kind of like whether they would or not, but I'll get onto the rewards in a little bit, the ones that come before the house. But in terms of the house itself, it kind of gives me like archaeologist vibes. I don't know. I just see it being like a house that is like part of the encampment for an archaeologist dig. But I wanted to be an archaeologist growing up, so maybe I've just got an affinity for it. In some ways, I do wish that we had a slightly more Aladdin-themed Star Path. I know that we got a couple of items here, but I feel like they could have done a really fun Aladdin-themed house. It didn't have to be specifically from the movie, but I would have loved to see maybe another type of Aladdin-themed house. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. But Tokyo Disney Sea is amazing for the Aladdin section of the park, so I feel like they could have lifted something from there. But nevertheless, I am happy with what we got, and I'm really happy with this. The detail on it is amazing. And I also love that they brought in Jasmine's kind of like teal blue color. We've got it on the kind of like gazebo over here, but they also brought it in on the canopies of the house as well, which it is an iconic color and it's totally related to Jasmine. So it fits. So because of that, I would say that the house skin and the DreamStyles were my two favorite parts of the Star Path, but I am also glad that they updated some of the tasks to not be so grindy. So let's talk about those pretty quickly. All right, and finally for my good section is that the Star Path was so much more enjoyable to do this time around. The tasks were not as grindy as Frost and Fairies. That was my biggest complaint about Frost and Fairies. And this is of course just my opinion, but when we're getting specific tasks, and I said this during my Frost and Fairies review, when we're getting specific fish, like blue ripple fish in specific biomes, it just takes the enjoyment out of doing the Star Path. It no longer feels like fun to do. It just felt like a non-stop grind. So I'm really glad that they've improved the tasks this time around. I mean, they were much easier. It was just things like get crafty, find gems with your pickaxe. There were a couple of specific ones, sort of like find orange or purple gems, you know, stuff like that. But you've got multiple places to actually acquire those gems, and the fact that DLCs work really helps. So I'm just glad that they moved the specificity out of it, because yeah, fishing for tilapia in a sunny place or whatever it ended up being the last time around, it not only took forever, it just took the fun out of it, because we don't have any like aids for anything like that. We don't have any additional potions for blue ripples, things like that. And I get that they want to kind of like extend the life of the Star Path. A lot of people do speed run it, but I just think people can play the game however they want to play it. So I understand some level of time gating, which is why I don't really mind. Somewhere down this list, it does start getting a little bit more intense towards the end of the bonus rewards, because you do have to kind of like give 27 gifts and stuff like that. But I just feel like people can play the game however they want. So some time gating around gifts and maybe Daisy's Boutique is okay. But other than that, just making it not enjoyable by making it so specific took some of the fun out of it for me. So I'm just glad that they've improved that. And it felt like I just kind of like breezed through the tasks this time. I didn't rush through them. I just kind of like breezed through them as I was playing the game naturally. Shocker, I do play the game. And yeah, it was, in terms of like the actual enjoyment of the Star Path, even though I've got like thoughts about the rewards, the Star Path duties themselves, I can get on board with, and I'm very happy with how it went this time. So if Gameloft, you can just do this every time around, I'll be happy with that. All right, so let's talk about some of the issues that I personally had with the Star Path. Now, I did actually enjoy this. As I've said multiple times, I feel like I keep having to justify it, but for me, one of the issues that I had was these pet baths. And actually, they kind of tie in together. So the pet baths and the recolor items, they both kind of like go hand in hand. To me, I don't think the recolored items were worth it this time. They were kind of like a barrier to get to the house for me. But what I will say is these pet baths, they kind of made it look in the promo material as though these were going to be interactive. I mean, yes, they didn't say that they were interactive, but they did kind of like put it in the Star Path emoji teaser, you know, pet bath. They did kind of feature it in the little showcase that they do. So for these to end up only being companion houses, I was kind of like, I'm not really sure if I'm on board with that, especially because they were two of the bonus items as well, which means they were two recolors. So essentially during the Star Path, we got 4 companion houses. I mean, yes, okay, I guess. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, the one with the petals and the little floating candles is kind of cute. The other one is okay. But to get 4 companion houses, I just kind of wish that they'd chosen something else. Or I mean, I wish that they'd made the companion houses, or the baths, I should say, actually interactable. I don't know. The Cappy didn't even have to do anything. Maybe the Cappy could have just sat in it and maybe some water like splashed up occasionally. I don't know. It just felt like a bit of a missed opportunity for me. And then to obviously get 4 of them from the Star Path. So out of the 21 furniture, the 4 of those items are going to be companion houses. I was just kind of like, it just felt like a slight missed opportunity, I suppose. But off the back of that, we've also got the recolor items. Now, I can't show you the hanging basket because it's an indoor only in this setup, but I mean, that's the recolor this time around. Like, for these items to have taken 300 tokens to get, which if you bought tokens where you select more tokens, that's 3,000 moonstones. I don't think that 2 plant pots, 2 extra companion houses with a small recolor, and the actual hanging basket is even worse. Basically, the hanging basket just goes from this beige to this brown with no color on it. Like, those for 3,000 moonstones, don't get me wrong, the house reward itself was amazing. It just felt like kind of, because the tasks get so much grindier for the bonus rewards, and like I said, the tasks themselves are not an issue, but they do get grindier naturally as you do the bonus rewards. But for these to be the bonus items, I was just kind of like, come on, Game Loft. Really? That's what we're doing? We're doing a plant pot that's got like a couple of orange ribbons on it. Like, I don't know. They could have picked anything else, like literally anything else. Give us some additional Aladdin items. Give us the tent in a different color. I don't know. Do something with this topiary. I mean, I love this topiary. This looks great. But in terms of like the bonus rewards, they just didn't feel worth it this time around. And I've seen a lot of players say that they don't want the bonus rewards this time. Like, they can leave the house because they're not a massive fan of the house. I enjoyed it, but a lot of people are saying that they could leave it because they're not a massive fan of it. And then as these being the recolors, it's definitely not worth it. So for me, I would say for the next Star Path, what I personally would like to see, I don't know if it will happen because I guess it's easier to recolor, but I would really love to see additional or new rewards in the bonus section. I would even love to see, because it is being called bonus, recolors can be okay if they're worth it and if they're done well and if the item is worth being recolored. So something big, you know, something really impactful. But for me, if it's a bonus section, we're getting the house as kind of like a last item in the Star Path. I would love to see the 4 other slots go to something that we don't have. I would love to see a new pose, maybe, in the bonus section. I would love to see maybe like an emote that we can do. Maybe a new filter for the camera. I don't know, just something to really like spice it up a little bit and make it feel like those rewards are worth the grind to get. Because right now, like, I'm sorry, but for 500 moonstones, which is essentially what it costs to buy the tokens for 50 tokens, like, I just feel like that's not enough, you know? Maybe it's just me, but that does lead me on to kind of the bigger issue at hand. And I say issue, it's not that deep, but in terms of this video and like my improvements for the Star Path, I feel as though the Star Path items are getting a little bit homogenized. So in terms of like the wicker stuff that we got this time around, I do quite like it, but I just feel like there used to be more variations in the Star Path rewards. And when I talk about variations, I mean stuff that could be used in multiple different builds. I always bring it back to Dream Snaps because it's the most interactive element of the game, but stuff that we can use in Dream Snaps that does not specifically apply or does not scream that it came from a certain Star Path. Now, I've set up on my Plaza Floating Island just a look at all of the, well, Hades is lurking over here as well. I don't know why. Just a look at all of the other Star Paths that we've had recently from that comparison chart that I did at the start of the video. So this is the Day at Disney Star Path. I'll just go around quickly. This is the Majesty and Magnolias one. This is Dapper Delights from Tiana, which actually looks really sad when I put it down all in one because we did get quite a few indoor items with this one. The Night Show, and then Frost and Fairies, and of course the Oasis Retreat in the middle. But what I'm thinking, or what I've noticed, is that with Frost and Fairies, this is where it kind of started and the items started to look very matchy-matchy and samey-samey. And I don't usually dislike that, but it does feel as though those items can then only ever be used in a build that uses the other items, if that makes sense. Yes, you can draw like one or two things out of it maybe, but because these are so specifically tied together with a certain aesthetic, it does make it feel like it's harder to use them individually. The only ones that are really like alone by themselves in this star path were the Buzz and Woody statue, and then these kind of like ice sculptures that we got, which I do really love these, and they are quite versatile. But yeah, in terms of versatility, I would say Frost and Fairy Star Path has the least versatile items out of everything. But then if we go over to A Day at Disney, you'll see that there are some more items here that can be used like in various places. And don't get me wrong, I know that the parks are easier to draw from and it's easier to give us a wider range of items from these. But I mean, we got the Aladdin camel, we got some Toy Story items, we got some Aladdin and Toy Story attractions, then we got a Toontown feature, we got a cart. You know, they all just feel individual and like they could be used in multiple builds. That's why I really love the park star paths. But even with Majesty and Magnolias, even though these items are kind of like all that deep red color, this art can be used by itself standalone. You know, the sword can be used by itself standalone for any type of like, I don't know, combat dream snap, something like that. The Magnolia leaf pile, this is one of my favorite items that we've ever gotten with a star path because it just can be used in multiple builds. Like if we've got a pink build, think pink or something like that, you can use it in there. You know, the lanterns, they're not specifically Mulan related at first glance. You know where they came from because you know that the star path they were part of, but they can be used individually. The same with Tiana's setup. So the gazebo is obviously one of the most popular items in the game. We love this kind of like triggered Game Loft gazebo obsession, which I'm down with, but the fireflies, even the train, like the train carriage can be used in multiple builds. Okay, the kitchen furniture and stuff like that is fine, but the feathery vase, it's just all very versatile, even though it was tied to the same theme. Now with the Rock Star Path, the night show, this, even though it was a shorter star path and had less items than everything else, it gave us such a wide range of build items that kind of like can be used anywhere. So I mean the water curtain, the interactable fireworks, the pyrotechnic box, the floor, the lighting rig, like apart from the actual musical instruments, all of this is so versatile and can be used in multiple builds of different themes. And like I said, I do think that the Oasis Retreat Star Path fits the vibe that they were going for, and that's fine. It's just like when I first saw it in the teaser trailer and I saw all of the wicker furniture, I was just kind of like, yeah, again, we're kind of in the same boat as Frost and Fairies, where everything had that sort of like wood feel to it. And maybe it's because the items kind of have a similar vibe, they're just in opposite colors. I don't know. I just feel like all the wicker items are harder to like pull out and use for versatile builds. The tent will be useful, and there's a couple of little Aladdin items. I would have really loved to see some more Aladdin items or some variation in items. That would have been my preference. I mean, the Peacock Topiary, that is one of my favorites because it's so different. Like, it doesn't feel like it really fits with the Star Path. I'm assuming it's inspired by the kind of like celebration section of Aladdin. But yeah, it doesn't feel like it fits with the rest of the Star Path, but that's why I like it because it's so different. I mean, the Oasis itself is quite big, so I do actually quite like that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like going off on a tangent, but I'm feeling like the rewards had more diversity previously than they did in this Star Path, but especially the Frost and Fairy Star Path. And it's not that bad. It's really not that bad, but it's just something that's been on my mind. And I was like, I need to share this. I need to get this off my chest. I would love to see some more diverse rewards. And this is kind of an example of what I'm talking about. So obviously I've put together like a very small collage of things that I think could have fit with the theme, but might not necessarily, you know, have made it feel so matchy-matchy or samey-samey. So like those lights, I just feel like they would have been amazing. Like they're so different, but they still fit the Oasis theme. They could have been like used really nicely. They could have been big like that as well. I just think that they would have really, really worked, as well as the string lights. So I feel like this would have been a perfect opportunity to bring in. It didn't have to look like that with the big canopy, but even just a set of string lights that we could have used in Dream Snaps, and it still would have fit like the Desert Oasis sort of vibe that they were going for. Both of those lighting options, I do feel like would have really elevated it and made it, just at least for me, feel more cohesive, but also more versatile, which sounds like an oxymoron, but you know, you just have to stick with me. However, there is also the Mystic Spring Oasis from Zootopia, so I would have loved to see maybe some of that. Maybe they could have drawn some actual inspiration from a Disney movie for that sort of like aspect of it. They've got like a really big sort of like center feature where the animals sort of like lounge on. I would have loved to see something to do with that come in. I mean, there's so much inspiration from there as well that they could have taken. So another one I would have loved to see. And then finally down in the bottom right, there is the Sultan's Oasis. Again, another oasis, but this is from Tokyo Disney Sea. This is actually a restaurant, I believe, but we know how much Gameloft love to do gazebos. And I thought that could have been a perfect gazebo. I know we got the tent, but that Sultan's Oasis with the big dome on top, the big teal dome, like I just feel like those items would have really added some diversity to the star path and not made it feel so homogenous. I don't know, maybe I'm off kilter, but these are just my feelings, especially with the furniture. And finally, my last issue, it sounds like I have so many issues. I really didn't have that many with the star path, but it's just stuff that I would love to see improved going forward, because I feel like there's always room for improvement, right? We're always working on improving stuff. So my last thing is kind of this outfit choice. I don't mind the outfit. I didn't love the yellow when we saw it in the teaser trailer. Actually, on the character, it looks pretty good. The hair, that's just a no. It didn't work out. I'm not sure what's going on with it. I'm not sure why it is so stiff. I'm not sure why it juts out at a 45-degree angle. I don't love the Jasmine hair reward. I was really excited to get it, but I'm hoping that it's maybe just a mechanical thing. I know that there was some backpack clipping, but I don't think that's the way to solve it. So for me, the hair was a miss. And I hate it in blonde. I was just doing it as an example. The outfit, I can give or take it. You know, I like the blue with the yellow. But for me, my biggest gripe, which I did speak about on stream at length, was that there was just no masculine option. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that the demographic of this game is predominantly female, predominantly feminine presenting. That is absolutely fine. I understand that. I'm not trying to come in and center like masculine or males in a space that is not necessarily designed for that. I understand that, but Gameloft do use a lot of male characters in the key art. They do use a lot of masculine characters. So for me, I just felt like not including some sort of masculine option in any way was just kind of like a huge miss to me. They could have done a shirt. It would not have taken that long to design a shirt, maybe a linen shirt that had the same trim in the same yellow color, and that would have worked. Now, don't get me wrong, like I said, I know that this is like feminine focused, I understand that, but I don't think adding variety takes away from anything else. They didn't need to take away either of the other two options. I just think more variety benefits everyone, because there are going to be players out there who are female that don't love kind of like spaghetti strap tops with skirts, and they would have liked to see, I don't know, a pair of shorts or a shirt. That's just my only thing. I would have just loved to see a shirt or a pair of shorts or just something to kind of like include the masculine avatars in some way, because it just felt like they used them in promo material quite often, and then they just decided we're not going to do anything this time around. So where does that leave me in terms of what I personally would love to see happen or improve with the next Star Path? Now, I do have a little wish list. I know that probably none of these are going to happen, but there are kind of like 6 things that I would love to see. Number 1, better recolor choices. If they are going to do recolors, I would love to see more impactful items, better recolors, kind of like an improvement in the furniture that they choose to recolor. 2, I would love to see more furniture variety. So I would love to see a better diverse option of choices in the furniture. I know that we're on the Oasis Star Path retreat. No, that's not the right word. I know that we're on the Oasis Retreat Star Path, but Frost and Fairies is a prime example of that. So I would really just love to see some more variation in furniture, kind of like how they were doing previously. 3, I don't know if this one will happen. I would love to see more interactivity in the items. The night show was a great kind of like jumping off point for that, where they had like the water curtain, the dance floor, the pyrotechnics. It just like all came to life and made it feel so much more interactive and so much more alive. It does bring a sense of kineticism to the valley that I do think we're sometimes missing. Number 4, more balanced clothing options. Even if it's just one item, just give us maybe one masculine item going forward. It doesn't just have to be feminine focused. I would love just to see a shirt or a pair of shorts or a pair of trousers. I don't know. Anything. 5, I would love to see some other companions get a spotlight. I feel like it's just always squirrels, capybaras, or rabbits. You know, I just would love to see like the snakes get something. I don't know. I just would love to see some other companions that are in the valley get some DreamStyles or get a companion skin. I don't know. I didn't bring this one up, but that's just on me personally. I'm just kind of fed up of like squirrels getting multiple styles. I would love to see something else. And 6, I think that the bonus rewards were a brilliant addition. I did love them. I would just love to see personally something else happen with those 4 slots Did you see that then? It's kind of like with those 4 slots that come before the bonus house skin. Like I said, I would love to see emotes. I would love to see poses, maybe filters, just something else. I feel like those 4 slots have a lot of room for innovation and for Gameloft to do something like very different that is aside from the recolors. So I would love to see them use those spots to do something just like totally new that would like blow us all out of the water. And I feel like they could do it. I feel like they've got it in them to do that. All right, gang, that is it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I was kind of rambling a little bit, but I just had to get my thoughts out and share what I felt. So, you know, I felt what I felt. Don't forget, this is just my opinion. I'm sure that you have an entirely different opinion on certain things, but I really do feel like the Star Path had some great moments this time around, and I would just love to see some improvements going forward. What did you think? Are the Star Paths starting to feel a little bit too samey in certain aspects? Or are you just as happy with how they are? Also, what is your favorite and least favorite item from this Star Path? Let me know down in the comments. I'm always eager to hear what you think. But with that being said, I will leave it there for today. A huge thank you to our channel members. I really appreciate every single one of you and everybody who subscribes to the channel. It means the world to me and it lets me have so much fun doing all of this. But I will catch you in the next one, and I will, of course, see you in the valley.